This computer terminal provides full access to the L-Car's computer net.
Greetings, welcome to the L-Cars ADV Subspace channel. Welcome aboard. If you haven't already, subscribe, don't be a patak, and do the right thing. I'm not sponsored by GPX, so my thoughts are my own, but if I can get a free t-shirt out of it, I'll stick that in the win column. Remember, you're getting your information from some idiot on the internet. You've been warned. Engage. In this video, we're going to talk about all the different dirt bikes that GPX offers and compare them. I feel I have a unique perspective as I have owned all but one of them because I have problems. But seriously, I do like to try different bikes and it's been a fun journey for me all along the way.
I love it when a plan comes together.
What type of riding do? I ride primarily trails and enduro trail ride events. The terrain ranges from smooth, flowy single track, double track, hill climbs, rock gardens, tight woods, rocky trails, sandy trails, muddy trails, and tentacle trails. The guys I ride with primarily ride KTMs and betas, and that's the type of bikes that GPX bikes compare to.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
Yo!
I knew it, I'm surrounded by assholes.
Keep firing, assholes!
One of the great things about GPX is that they offer so many bikes to choose from.
We're not just doing this for money. We're doing it for a shitload of money.
They all share the same frames and suspension. All you need to do is pick the power plant that meets your needs. The platform is similar to a Husqvarna design with linkage, save for the new TSC 300R, which offers both linkage and non-linkage models. They all share the same quality parts and plastics and are on par with the Japanese brands, in my opinion.
You have the ring, and I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Where the bikes differ is their engines, and that makes a huge difference depending on the type of riding you do and the terrain you ride. I feel like I need to point out that all GPX engines, except for the new TSC 300R, I'll elaborate on that later, fit the whole spectrum of rider from beginning to advanced. The engines are all very linear and controllable. A newer rider can hop on any of the GPX bikes and not be intimidated by any of the engines, as they won't rip your arms off. Yet a more advanced rider can take full advantage of all the torque and power and have complete control. You work the bikes don't work you. I've ridden my GPX bikes in most all terrains and I can keep up with the pumpkins and princesses just fine. The only thing that holds me back is my mediocre riding ability. The suspension and handling are more than adequate and won't leave you wanting. The brakes are the best I've had, period. The bikes are all relatively lightweight, but not quite light as their KTM counterparts, again, save for the TSC 300R. All the bikes have electric start, which makes life so much easier. Like I said, you get all the same features across all the bikes. Let's go over all the different models. I'll go in order of my ownership throughout the years and give my thoughts on each one. The TSC 250R, a great two-stroke option based on a carbureted Yamaha DT230 engine. Equipped with a power valve and that two-stroke ring-a-ding-ding, it's seriously a fun bike to ride. Low compression and water-cooled reliability make this two-stroke less needy than other more performance-driven two-strokes. The 250R is equipped with the magic button and backup kickstart. I really enjoyed this bike in the tight woods and technical terrains. It excels in slow technical terrain because it's hard to stall, and its two-stroke lightness make it more manageable in the rock sections. The bike feels very light and flickable on the trails. I primarily ride in the northeastern USA, but I have taken this bike all the way to St. George, Utah to ride in the Badlands with Everride. I had mine fitted out with the Smart Carb, which made it even better in my opinion. I'd say the 250R is at the top of my list of my favorite GPX bikes. There's just something about two-strokes that put a grin on my face ear to ear. Maybe it makes me think I ride faster?
You suck, you jackass.
Why don't you shut the hell up?
The TSC 250R is a fantastic option for newer or advanced riders. Its linear engine, while not the most powerful, is enough to get the job done, and it's just plain fun. The FSE 300R. Ah, the perfect displacement of four-stroke goodness. Is 300cc the magic number that wins the Price is Right? Yes. I own the single cam version. They since updated to a dual cam version, making it even better. Zhongshan designed this fuel-injected water-cooled engine in-house, and it is bulletproof. I am friends with the guy who owns one of the original FSE 250Rs from 2019. Same engine, they updated the bore, and he has done unspeakable things to his engine, and it just won't die, which speaks to its reliability. The engine is very torquey and linear. No, it won't loop you over in a death wheelie, but it will torque its way up and over anything. The engine is throaty. I mean, really throaty. You may want to put in the included baffle if you want to stay a little quieter around those trails you're not supposed to be on.
Two Romulan warships uncloaking.
Fuel injection makes for easier starts and adjusts for temperature and elevation changes. It does have backup kickstart too. When I had this bike, it ate hill climbs up like they were not even there. I enjoyed this bike in tight woods and flowy single track. One thing that sticks out about the FSE 300R is that because of the linear personality of the engine, it maintains traction very easily. While the bike feels a little heavier than its TSC 250R counterpart, it's still very manageable. No, it's not as light as a KTM 4-stroke, but it's not too far off either. The guy who loved this bike so much did this to me to keep me from getting rid of it. He's still mad at me to this day for getting rid of this bike. The FSE 300R is just a fantastic bike. The FSE 250E. Want that Honda XR air-cooled goodness with keep it simple stupid reliability? Then the 250E is for you. Carbureted, no radiators to get punctured, and old school air cooling that make this bike indestructible. I would say the power is about 80% of the FSE 300R, but make no mistake, this bike has gobs of usable torque to keep the traction and power up and over anything. I really enjoyed this engine's character, and it really is a do-all bike for whatever type of trails you throw at it. This is just an incredible bike for the money, and I think it's the most overlooked bike in the bunch. It's a true gem that shouldn't be so easily dismissed. The 250E is lighter than 300R, which makes it even easier to ride in the technical trails. No kickstart on this one, but the magic button makes it way better than those old air-cooled bikes with no e-start. I really do love this bike and like it just a nudge more than my FSE 300R due to it being a little bit lighter and the engine's character. But that is just my opinion, as I could take either 4-stroke and be happy. The FSE 450R. This is the only GPX bike I haven't personally owned. Without riding it, I have a very good idea of how the engine would perform just from others' thoughts and how I know Zhongshan engines are. Take my opinion for what it's worth anyways. Another Zhongshan engine, only this time it's a water-cooled fuel-injected 450 dual-cam engine. It's going to have gobs of power and torque, more so than the 300R, but still be very linear in its personality. This bike would be the heaviest of the bunch, and in my opinion would be better suited for wide-open western states, rather than the tight northeastern woods riding. 450s do great out west, but in the woods they can be a pain to throw around as they are just too heavy and too much engine, and that could be a bad thing. If I lived out in the western United States, then I would probably own one. I would definitely compare this bike to a Suzuki DRZ 400, but better, and with a 6th gear. Alright, the TSC 300R. New for 2023, something completely different from the rest of the GPX lineup. This is a high-performance 300cc liquid-cooled carbureted engine that will rip your arms off.
Now stand aside, worthy adversary.
'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
But what's that then?
I've heard worse.
Based off of a KTM 300 engine with some slight changes, this bike definitely differs from the linear personality of the other GPX bikes. It's the only GPX bike I wouldn't recommend for new riders or riders that don't have a few years of saddle time. This bike does get upgraded suspension compared to the other GPX bikes. Out of the box it handles great and is pretty dang plush, but a tad harsher than stock WP suspension. But with some suspension work it could be phenomenal. The suspension wizard Joe Henner, who works for GPX, is working on some suspension mods that are supposed to do just that. The engine on this bike is, well, like a KTM 300 XCW engine, tons of power and it rips. I find myself having to do a lot more clutch work to control it compared to the other bikes, but wow, I do love it though. I personally leave the power valve set to a linear output to tame the beast. As I said before, two-strokes are fun to ride and this bike is no exception. The 300R in the USA comes with a Mikuni clone 40mm, which hopefully GPX changes to a Kian 38 or 36, as 40mm for trail riding is not really ideal. $40 later, I bought a 38mm Kian clone off of Amazon, and it's a much better carb in my opinion. Most KTM guys dump their Mikunis anyways. The bike is light, like super light. It's so flickable and easy to maneuver. So far, I am very happy with the TSC 300R, and I look forward to seeing its potential as I tweak it along the way. So that's a brief comparison of all the GPX bikes. I've liked every single one, some having some strengths over the others. They've all helped me to become a better rider, and I would take any of them hands down. Of course, it would be great to dump 10-11K on a KTM or Beta. After all, they are phenomenal bikes. But dang, dirt bikes are getting too expensive these days, and part of why I push the GPX brand is because us working class plebs can't all afford those big brand prices. Why settle for a used, never raced and lovingly maintained 5-year-old KTM when you can have a brand new bike that will make you just as happy? GPX gets you everything you need and is our generation's working class dirt bike since the Japanese brands gave up decades ago. I hope this video has helped you and at least informed you that there is other options out there. After all, I wouldn't have bought 4 of these bikes if I didn't like them. Don't forget to subscribe, and you KTM fanboys give that glorious thumbs down and mash that keyboard in the comments. Until next time, live long and ride.